Hello, my darlings. So I just wanted to make a quick video about the 1920s versus 2020s project that you guys are going to be doing in English, and you're probably doing it in a lot of your other classes too. So I'm just going to go through the directions. The document for this is in Google Classroom already, and so is the schedule for. It's like a suggestion of how you should use your time for the project, but you don't have to exactly do it. So I'm just going to go through that real quick and then add some of my own little snippets in there. So, for this assignment, you'll be asked to compare and contrast the 1920s and the 2020s based on themes for each of your classes. This is mandatory for each student, for each class, unless you otherwise are told by your teacher. So, most of your teachers are probably doing this, but if not, okay, you're just going to do the ones that your teachers tell you to do. There are suggestions listed under each theme that might help you think of topics for your comparisons. Record your comparisons for each time period under the subject area in which you are working. You are free to use the suggestions for each theme subject area, and you may create your own with approval from your subject area teacher. So, what we're going to do is we're going to compare and contrast film from the 1920s to the 2020s. So, just like how they're different, how they're the same, stuff like that. So you're going to make at least 3 comparisons between the 2 time periods for each class you take using the graphic organizer provided. Um, there's a graphic organizer down underneath all the directions and stuff. So go ahead and use that one if you want. If you want to use a different one, that's fine. After completing the graphic organizer below, construct a final project that is creative and reflective of your connections. Your product choices are unlimited. You can use Prezi, Google Slides, Flipgrid, a poster board, a video, a TikTok. I would love to see some TikToks. That'd be great. You must make sure the information can be shared with your teachers. So if you make a video, you have to make sure that I'm able to watch it. If I can't watch it, I can't grade it. You can create one product that covers all subjects, or you could do a different product for each. So if you want to make, for example, a TikTok for all of your classes, you can do that. You have to make sure all the stuff, fits in between that 1 minute. And if you want to make like one big poster board for all your classes, that's fine. Just have to make sure all the information is still there. Or you can create little individual ones for each of your classes. So how much you include and how creative you are will be factored into your grade. So you need to be creative and original for this. You're going to get graded for each subject. So if you put a ton of effort into math and not a lot into social studies, or you put a ton of effort into English and not a lot into science, that's going to affect your grade in that class. So your project should include 3 comparisons from each decade for each of your assigned classes. It should be creative, use good research, make sure it's original. If you have digital access, there is a link in the document that you can look at to create an online based project. And if not, like I said, you could do anything that you want, really. You can make a poster board, you can draw pictures, create a book, create diary entries, make a magazine picture collage. That's always cool. You can write a creative story. You can make like a comic strip if you want. So, really, the possibilities are endless. Just make sure you let me know what you're going to do. So next in that document, you're going to find the rubric. So it's going to be 250 points each for each class. So 50 points for the theme for each project are addressed in the project. So you talk about, your comparisons for the 1920s and I can't talk. The 1920s and the 2020s. The project is linked to each of the classes. So if you choose to, do a big poster board with all your classes, make sure they're all on there, not just like a couple. One goal is created is applied to each of the core classes as well as on-core classes. It's not really relevant. The students show creativity, effort, and professionalism. Make sure you cite your sources. I'm going to put in Google Classroom how to cite your sources. So you can't just like put, a picture on the on a poster and call it a day. You have to make sure you tell me where you got it from. All right. And then a more breakdown in the document of the rubric. So in the graphic organizer, you will find, I wish I could share my screen with you guys. That's okay. You'll be able to see it anyway. In the document, you go all the way down. It says really big, this is not your final project, but there's some stuff in there about cinema from the 1920s versus the 2020s. So it says use the article, video clips, and any other sources you may find on your own to compare film in the 1920s versus today. Notice similarities in theme, author's purpose, representation of character, and societal influence on the genre. Include any connections to literature that you may have read from this time period or our current time period. So we have not read anything from the 2020s. I do not, or the not the 2020s, the 1920s. I do not believe. And I don't think we've read anything from the 2020s either. But you guys may have read something similar. Like if you read The Hate U Give, that is from kind of this time period. So you could use that as an example. So does the literature reflect the same thing you see in film from either time period? Don't forget to cite evidence in your final product. So there's some examples of books that you can look into. There's some articles, some video clips. So make sure you look at those and just figure out a few things from each time period that you can compare and contrast. So for example, I'm going to give this example, but you can't use it. So in the 1920s, all the film was black and white. In the 2020s, we don't use black and white anymore because obviously we have color. So that is an example of a difference between the 1920s and the 2020s. So you're going to put that, you can use a little graphic organizer like this if you want, like, 1920s, 2020s, how they're, you can put, how they're different either side and then how they're similar there in the middle. Or you could use a graphic organizer in the document. I don't really care. So that is pretty much it. In the document, it also says social studies connections. That's just an example of like another connection that you'd be using. Like obviously you're not going to be doing social studies for my class. It's just another example for you guys to look at. So go ahead and go in there, read it over. If you have any questions, let me know. I did post the documents yesterday. If you guys read over them, great. If not, go ahead and look at them. So again, if you have any questions, let me know. It's going to be a pretty easy project. I think you guys can do it. And if there's any trouble, shoot me an email. And that's all I got for you guys. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.